Okay, the case I have today is Wallmuth versus the Rapids Parish School Board. And basically, this was decided by the Supreme Court of Louisiana in 2002. What happened is there was a junior high, April 18th of 1996 is the year that this occurred. There were two students, Nathaniel Smith and David Zeno, who held this young man Wallmuth, while another student, whose name was Chris Davidson, kicked him in the knee, which severely injured him. The parents filed suit against the school board, the three other students' parents and their guardians, and also their insurance companies. So it was a pretty big deal. What happened and what started the whole thing is during the PE class, that they were all in together. They were playing volleyball. One team was winning, one team was losing. The three boys were on the losing team, and Mr. Wallmuth was on the winning team. The other three boys were angry about it and upset and whatever, and they were yelling some threats to Mr. Wallmuth. They finished playing volleyball, and then it was time for them to go dress out. As this Wallmuth kid went to go change his clothes, then the two boys came up to him and grabbed him, and then all of a sudden, this Davidson kid ran up and kicked him in the knee. So anyways, about a minute after he was kicked, then the coach came through on his regular patrol of the locker room. The coach was not in the locker room, which personally, it seems like he's probably not supposed to be, because the kids are in there changing clothes. So I have a question about that maybe I'd like to get some further clarification on there. But it says that the boys, they all testified that when the students were dressing out, the coach spent his time walking between the gym and the locker room, which were connected to each other by a doorway. And you couldn't see this area of the locker room from that door. But the kid Wallmuth testified that almost every single day that there was some type of an altercation, pushing, playing, horseplay. In this day and age, we would probably classify it as bullying, technically, and so that there would probably be an issue there. It went through all the courts. The Court of Appeals found that the school board was liable for Wallmuth's injuries because they had knowledge that there had been a fight in the locker room previously, or some different things in there, and the school board failed to notify the coach that he needed to supervise that area a little bit better. Well, the school board appealed it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court reversed that ruling, basically because it was not a foreseeable incident. And this is one section, it's kind of long, that I kind of like. It's on page 668 on the right hand column, and it's like the last full paragraph on the page. But it says, thus no independent fault is attributable to the school board. Constant supervision of all students is not possible, nor is it required for educators to discharge their duty to provide adequate supervision. The school board is not liable in this case for failing to adequately supervise this physical education class, because the risk that one student would strike and seriously injure another student in the back of the locker room was not foreseeable, nor constructively or actually known. Not even the student who was injured thought that he was at risk in the locker room, and no one notified Coach Brasher or anyone else at the school or the school board that Davidson posed the threat to anyone else. And so that's one thing too. The kid Wallman, I can't remember if I said this or not, but he felt like the threats had died down, and so he felt like he was okay to get in and to go into the locker room, and there was no problem. And it says, or that the students in this physical education class routinely engaged in roughhousing in the back of the locker room. Therefore, neither school board nor Coach Brasher acted unreasonably by failing to constantly supervise the students changing clothes in the back of the locker room rather than patrolling the entire area, including the gym and the locker room. So at the end, they reversed the case, and there was no liability held against the school board or the coach. And I think basically what it's saying is that the Supreme Court of Louisiana kind of went with a boys will be boys approach. And I guess, I don't know if this is okay to do, but I do have a question about that. I think that in this time frame, 2016, that would be classified as bullying and probably be a huge liability regarding students' welfare that we would have to take care of as educators, number one. And number two, I'm imagining, like, I'm not a PE coach, I'm an ag teacher, but I'm imagining that there's probably some type of stipulations regarding the coach supervising students while they're changing into their gym clothes. And I'm kind of curious if maybe you could clear some of those up. But that's the case, and those are my questions. Thanks.